Hello, good morning, and welcome back to another workshop from the Tour 2020, brought to you by Small Business Saturday and BT Skills for Tomorrow. So today the tour has virtually arrived in Cheltenham, and we are joined by Richard Neal from OpsBox to chat to us all about 8 tips for business success. So this webinar will be recorded and popped on the Small Business Saturday Facebook page later on today, so you can always catch up if you need to. Please do put any of your questions or comments in the chat box. They'll come directly to me and I will ask Richard your questions at the end of the presentation. So that's enough from me. Richard, if I can hand it over to you to take it away.
Thanks, Amber. Just making sure that you can hear me loud and clear.
We can.
And you can see the screen okay?
Yep. Perfect.
Okay, technology works, fantastic. Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome to this Small Business Saturday webinar on 8 tips for business success. My name is Richard Neal, Director of OpsBox Group Limited. OpsBox came about partially due to a very real recognition that small businesses were often and increasingly left unsupported in this professional world, and were often in a very solitary existence. We further appreciated that business, and particularly small business owners, needed help, guidance and support in many ways. So OpsBox was created to fill the void. So briefly, OpsBox consists of myself on the left and Hayley Parker. She's the slightly better looking one on the right. We both come from a background in commercial banking, but with very different experience. I worked for many years in various face-to-face relationship roles, looking after and helping businesses of all sizes. Also had experience running commercial teams and spent 25 years working with businesses in the SME space. Hayley's worked for many years with senior management on change and operational management, overseeing acquisitions, mergers and full-scale reorganisations and business restructures. Our combined skill and experience seemed a good fit to take into our new business. We formed earlier this year and could not possibly have envisaged how our first year would have panned out. Yep, we set up right at the start of the pandemic, but you know, who doesn't like a challenge? As we all know, it's not an easy time for businesses at the moment, and the future remains uncertain. At OpsBox, we work with businesses who are planning to grow, to become stronger, fitter, and not just survive. Interestingly, we work with some who've seen 2020 as an opportunity for their business, possibly to diversify, change direction, or take a critical look at their own growth plans. The fundamental pillars of business still apply, and paying close attention to those now will stand you in good stead for the road ahead and position you for future growth. We see businesses every day who face different choices, challenges and issues. However, across all of these businesses, there's a lot of common ground. And here in this seminar, I'll be running through our 8 top tips of advice for any business. Now, you wouldn't set out on a journey without a map, or more likely a sat-nav these days. Now, this might sound obvious, but your business is no different. You need a goal, an end destination, and a plan of how to get there. You're in business for a reason. What is that reason? Typically, some of these end goals could be early retirement. It could be sale of the business to a larger competitor, or indeed to the next generation in the business. A management buyout or a buy-in. Or you might just want to be a millionaire. Sounds good, doesn't it? So imagine the scene. You're going to Cornwall. You wouldn't head north on the M5 or the M6. Taking the road north in this example, and you'll not only go the wrong way, but you'll incur cost. Innumerable time delays. You'll experience personal frustration and annoyance, and your passengers will be extremely unhappy with you. It's the same thing having a business goal with no plan. Simply, you have no direction. It's not a great start. It doesn't really matter what the plan is to anybody else but you. If you have a destination, how are you going to get there? Plan it. Have that plan. Be diligent with your plan. And please be prepared to execute your plan. I'll talk about that later. Of course, you might get lost along the way or double back or take a different path. But that's the important thing about planning, to know your goal and how you might get there. A better business plan and infrastructure can be flexible and can more easily be adapted to change course along the way. We've seen and heard of businesses in 2020 that have adapted and been flexible. Pubs and hospitality venues are a classic case in point. They now have the freedoms to be takeaways until March 2022 following an announcement made recently. A manufacturer we work with at Oxbox modified their tooling to become part of the ventilator challenge when that was needed back in April. There are many, many examples. These adaptations can still keep business on track to those end goals. Just don't forget what those goals were. Actions speak louder than words, a saying that originates from 1628, and this is true today as it was when Abraham Lincoln used it back in 1856. Having a business plan is important, but creating a great business plan is just the start. It's what you do with it that matters. Time and time again, we see good plans developed, but often you don't see them turned into reality. Why? Because time and effort hasn't been spent on implementing them. We're working with many clients who fit this description. One who completed a 30-point plan to deliver the growth the business desired. It was a wonderful piece of high-level blue sky thinking. However, there was no strategy ever employed to implement that plan, to actually invest time and develop the various aspects of it. The plan was stuck on a notice board and ignored, lost in the confusion of the day-to-day. Somebody we spoke to admitted that the plan was formulated, alive and very much well, in his own head. Now, to a certain extent, that's fine, as at least there was a plan, but the challenge was that it too was not developed or worked on. It was purely a collection of excellent ideas that needed to be coaxed out and developed. The vision and goals are often clear, whether they be in a document, in someone's head, or even on the back of a fact packet. But action hasn't been taken in the business to support the delivery. The result of this is that the business doesn't achieve the success it has hoped for. Now, this is a busy slide, but it's one that I'm going to talk through to position why it's so important. We've already said that a plan is one thing, but taking action, operationalizing, implementing the plan, if you like, whatever you want to call it, is another matter entirely, and one that is omitted by so many business owners. One of the ways that businesses can effectively implement their plan is by having a business operating model that's fit for purpose for the specific business. Putting it simply, a BOM, a business operating model, quite a good abbreviation we thought, means having the 6 aspects that you can see on screen fully aligned to the plan and working effectively. I'll just take a minute to run through the different parts. At the top, the organizational structure, the who. It's vital to have clear roles within a business, to clearly align the responsibilities, and most importantly, to have transparent reporting lines. So many businesses have no reporting structure, meaning inevitably that a business owner gets overrun with doing everything for everybody within the structure. He or she often becomes a busy fool. I've written about it in blogs, but this is the business where the business owner has to order and approve the ordering of pencils and paper clips. No, my friends, that is not the way. Policies and processes, the how. The vital processes and policies that your business adheres to. There must be a process. Policies and process are the glue that defines how the business operates. It must be understood by all employees what they need to do, how they contribute, and it must be clearly defined. Most employees have a job role spec. Is it clear? Is it up to date? Does it accurately describe what is needed from the employee? And equally importantly, what it is that it needs not to avoid duplicated work. On process, take a manufacturing firm, for example. There must be a strict process to make a piece of kit, potentially covering stock control, ordering, machining, and quality control. If the process isn't right in a business, there could be duplicated work, quality issues, and numerous other problems. Governance. These are the rules, the framework that the business will operate in, critically including adherence to any regulation that the business may be subject to. Most businesses these days are subject to some form of regulatory governance or even standards that must be maintained and records kept. If inspectors or auditors visit, will a business be able to justify its adherence to protocols? We can see it now in nearly every business, especially in COVID times, with governance extending to hand sanitation, signing in, temperature checking, and all those things that we've become accustomed to. Keeping on top of governance is a very important task, both from a compliance and reputational point of view. Culture, absolutely essential. The hearts and minds, how your employees think and feel. Are they motivated? Do they work well together? Remember, a happy workplace is a productive workplace, usually. Colleague communication and engagement is a part of this important cog. How is the communication within the business? Is there enough, or probably not enough? Are the employees engaged to deliver their best, or the extra 10% that happy colleagues can produce? Does the business do any form of engagement survey to measure how the employees feel? These are all important factors, and I'm sure we can think of many businesses that polarize opinion one way or the other. I certainly can. Monitoring and evaluation, the checking process. Monitoring business performance. This may seem obvious, but many businesses do not invest in this. Jobs are done, products are supplied, end of story. What internal checks are made to monitor output and performance, particularly in a busy environment? You'll know that many businesses use Google Reviews or Trustpilot to monitor feedback. It promotes the business, but also can highlight to the owner if a certain function within the business is not working well. TripAdvisor is a similar tool that we all know in the holiday trade. Better ranked businesses perform better. We all like to deal with firms we can trust, who have an apparently good track record and strong reviews. Finally, tools and technology, having the necessary systems in place to support your business. We can also call this moving with the times, if you like. Use technology. Your client will and expects you to be able to as well. Many businesses need to invest in IT and similar technologies every 2 years or so. Having the right tools and technology is essential to keep ahead. How can automation help your business? Now, here's a phrase that's in regular use in OpsBox world: getting the right people on the bus. In his book, Good to Great, Jim Collins creates a metaphor by comparing a business to a bus and the leader as a bus driver. He emphasizes that it's crucial to continually ask first who, then what. Getting the right people on the bus and in the right seats, as Collins puts it, is crucial to achieving your goals. Let's think about this. You have the ability to buy a product which can be sold to the public at 3 times the cost. But you need a shop window. You need someone to sell it, apart from yourself. It possibly needs to be packaged if sold mail order or by the internet. And you need to keep accurate records. All of a sudden, you need a whole variety of people to handle the process from beginning to end. They need to work in unison, one seamless process to ensure the product is bought, stocked, advertised, delivered, and everything is financially accounted for. Every one person within that process needs to be on the bus. And just as importantly, they need to be sitting in the right seats. The driver is the owner, the leader. He's taking the team on the journey. This is critical to achieve those business goals I spoke of earlier. Growth may happen organically, and it's truly brilliant if it does, but planning for it will put you in the best possible place to capitalize on opportunities. Know your competition inside out and be certain on your own key competencies and where your competitive edge lies. What are your USPs, your unique selling points? What do you do better than the competition? And equally, where can you improve? You might choose to grow by moving into new markets or products, or there may be new opportunities geographically or via merger or acquisition. Whichever way you decide to go, knowing how you will grow and having a clear and ambitious strategy gives you a yardstick to measure your business success. Money, my favorite subject, as you might expect with someone with my background. Finance is regarded as the lifeblood of a business enterprise. It's the basic foundation of all kinds of economic activities, and the success of an organization largely depends on efficient management of its finances. In these uncertain times, it has never been more important to keep a close eye on your overheads and cash flow, as well as having a strategy for funding your longer-term growth. Just a couple of principles on finance. Many businesses chase turnover. They chase sales. It's all about the top line. Wrong. It's not all about turnover. It's about profit. Don't make a sale at a loss unless there's a very strong reason to do so. Yes, loss leaders can work, but they need to be carefully managed. You need to guarantee profitable sales ultimately. You may have heard the phrase turnover is vanity, profit is sanity. It's very true. It's the profit that you will drive It's the profit that will drive growth, as you can generate revenues to invest in more machinery, premises, more people, diversified product, whatever it is. One more thing particularly relevant now in these times: turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, but cash is king. You might have heard that too. Finance is complicated, and if you'd like to talk to me about finance another time, please get in touch. But my point here is that in 2020, more so than ever, if you have cash, you have choices and you have an advantage. Profit can manifest itself in many ways. For example, I've seen businesses that have made £1 million profit and have no cash and struggle to pay their wages. That's because the profit is tucked away in the balance sheet. For example, debtors, clients that owe you money, or stock. Profit is good, but not if you can't use it. And this takes us into more complex sides of finance, but having debtors that pay you 90 days after you ask for it, or having stock that won't sell or takes forever to sell, is more often than not unhealthy. Keeping control on your finances can convert these more quickly into cash, giving more options. Cash is king. Briefly, I'll touch on the right form of funding too. Talk to an expert about how you should fund your business, particularly at the moment. The lending world is very confused, and our friends at the banks are going through a period of unprecedented change and financial pressure. I could talk about this for hours. You wouldn't thank me for it, but suffice to say, please consider your funding strategy and have avenues to provide solutions. I can help you with that if you wish. One thing that most business owners will agree on, whether a startup or an established company, is that running your own business can be, and often is, a lonely place. Everyone needs a sounding board sometime. It might be an issue, a challenge, or an opportunity, but people within your business, and indeed friends and family, are often too close to provide objective advice. A trusted partner or network that you can turn to and learn from is an invaluable resource for the road ahead. A solid business support structure is favoured and used by many businesses, small and large. We like the phrase trusted partner because that's exactly what it is. The trusted partner provides a sounding board, a perspective, a structure, and can provide support in many ways. At Opsbox, as well as being trusted partners ourselves, we also work with other similar specialists that we refer clients to. This shared expertise and use of connections is invaluable to provide a client with the best information available. Most trusted partners operate in such networks, and whilst they might not be, for example, marketing or HR experts, they invariably know someone who is. Opsbox is set up to be that trusted partner with full support structure across all key areas, but with wide-ranging client demands, we have to rely on others. Never rule out seeking support. So after all this, and last but definitely not least, the final piece of advice to anyone in business is to keep the passion and enjoy it. Remember the reasons why you started out in business in the first place, and the passion you have for your product or service, whatever it may be. It can be so easy to get bogged down in the day-to-day grind, but at the end of the day, it's about the people you work with, and business can be quite fun, so enjoy it. I would say that it's easier and therefore enjoyable if you do have a better structure. We all want to sleep at night. In a time where mental health is probably attracting more interest than ever, it's important for every aspect of your life that you remember to have fun and to celebrate success. Whatever works for you. Cakes on a Tuesday, cross-dressing on a Wednesday, beer o'clock at 4 o'clock on a Friday, recognition, outings, events, it doesn't matter. But just remember to have fun and celebrate success. So those are my 8 tips to business success. In summary, Opsbox is there to support your business across all of these areas and more. If you'd like to have a chat with us about what we can do for you, please do let us know. Our contact details are on the screen now. You can also find us at www.ops-boxgroup.com or Hayley and me individually on LinkedIn. So thank you for listening. I sincerely hope that the presentation has been of value and of interest, and I'll hand back now to Amber, who may well have some questions.
Hi, Richard. Thank you so much for all those great top tips. Do put any of your questions in the chat box and we'll quickly run through them now. We've got lots of people saying great tips and thank you so much for the presentation, Richard. So I'll just give you a couple of minutes. We haven't got many questions, just lots of thank yous.
Okay.
So I'll just give everyone a minute or so if anyone wants to pop.
No question is the wrong question. You've probably got something on your mind that everyone else is thinking about. So, you know, don't be shy, pop it down.
My favorite tip was the last one, is to have fun, because
Mm.
that's what it's all about. You don't want to be in business and be miserable about it, especially when you're running it yourself. So that is my favorite.
That's right. And you know, we spend so many working hours in our work. You know, whether we spend 25 or 40 or 60 or 90 or whatever it is. You know, it's a large part of our life, and we have to celebrate those successes. We have to enjoy it. We have to have fun, because it's a large part of your life. And I mentioned the point about mental health, and mental health is such a big thing at the moment. And being able to go to work with a spring in your step to enjoy what you do, and enjoy the people you work with, is an essential part of modern life.
We've just had a couple more comments in saying thank you, very informative, great delivery, short, sharp, and to the point. Joanne asks, what is your advice for not getting bogged down in the day-to-day? It's so easy to fall into that trap.
It is, and we've seen it so many different times. And I'll come back to the sorry, my phone just going off. Let me just turn that off a minute. We come back to the slide about the business operating model. Having the right structure in your business means that you can sort of have that structure to be able to deliver your business and to have those right reporting lines. I can give you an example of a business that I've met where you've got the managing director who's got 20 staff, and all 20 staff report into that individual. He has to approve absolutely everything in the business, and he can't run the business and he can't be effective himself if he's got 20 people with no delegated authority to be able to operate and be able to do things themselves. It's about setting up that operating model, setting up these people with responsibilities, with the right job specs, so that they've got that authority to be able to do things within the business without referring to him. You know, yeah, a person with 20 business people in the business probably needs 2 or 3 line managers who look after 5, 7, 8 people each. And those line managers are the route into the senior manager at the top. It is all about getting that structure right, that operating model right. And that will take away that or being bogged down in the business, and working, you know, enabling you to work on the business rather than continually in the business.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of related to the point you made about seeking support and delegating as well, and trusting others to do things on your behalf. Because otherwise you can't do the things that you need to do in your business if you're, you know, trying to control every single aspect.
No, that's right. We you know, just briefly again, someone else I can think of that started up in a engineering sort of enterprise, and there was him and his mate, the machine, and he thought that's all it would be. And because they were very good at making product, they got lots of requests. They had to buy more machinery, they had to take on more people, and before you know it, there's 25 staff. Now, being able to, starting from a position of being able to machine and tool and make nice engineering, light engineering products is great. But all of a sudden, when you've got 25 staff, you're not doing that so much. You're running a business. Somebody's told this guy how to make kit. No one told him how to run a business. Yeah. And that's my point about surrounding yourself with the right people and the right advisors to be able to help you to build that structure so that you can take this business to where you want to take it to.
Yeah, great advice. We've got another question just come in. Can you give further advice on how to break down a business plan into smaller, actionable tasks?
Well, the one thing I would say about business plans, and again, this stems from years of having looked at them, is don't make it too long and complicated. It should be something that you can work through, 2, 3, 4 pages, that has got meaningful actions in it, and that actually things that can be delivered. I've read some high-level mumbo jumbo over the years in the bank and stuff, and it just turns you off. You know jolly well that it's written for someone else's eyes. It's not written for the business. There's no benefit to it. So it is short, concise actions that are measurable and that are smart. I can do this. I need to do this. When will I do it? Who will do it? How will they do it? How will it benefit us? Short, sharp, business planning headings, if you will, and we've got business plan templates that we can help you with, and they're probably available online, I guess, as well. But it's a fairly easy process. But do not wax lyrical about the business for pages and pages. It is counterproductive, and it means you'll just put it on the shelf and forget it.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. We've got another question just come in saying, thank you, Richard, for the tip. Excellent. Will you be able to talk more about funding and advice for startups to start small, please?
Yeah, the funding landscape's an absolute nightmare. I left the bank 18 months ago, and what they've been put through this year is absolutely terrible. So I mean, at the minute, you've got a situation where the banks are fairly unwilling to lend anybody anything apart from the government-backed loans, which they've supported extremely well, I would say. I will put that out there. A lot of banks now don't open accounts, so if you can open a bank account, you're doing pretty well, to be honest. I understand why banks have taken that line, but it's not helpful. And I think sort of it's more important than ever to be able to have a wider route for finance. People traditionally have gone to their main bank, they've gone to their main provider and expected them to deliver. But now, and particularly into next year, as things get even tougher with the fallout of some of these schemes, it'll be really hard for the bank to be able to carry, or banks to be able to carry on in the way that they did. And it's vital to have that secondary avenue. And that secondary avenue is something, again, we can provide it, but there are others that do. Access to whole of market, so that you've got many lenders out there. There are more than 200. People may have heard of challenger banks, but there's peer-to-peer, there's secondary banks, there's all sorts of lenders out there for all sorts of purposes, and a lot of them being set up in recognition that the banks need competition, and the clients out there need alternative solutions and providers. So any question on finance as a specific need, please come through to me, because there are lenders out there who will support you. There are specific businesses out there, lenders that will support startup businesses. But it does mean having the right plan. It does mean, indicating to the lender that your business is viable, that you're going to get somewhere. I will take the flip side here. If you turn up with a lender and show, here's our last 3 years, we've made horrendous losses and we're technically insolvent and all the rest of it, then, it's going to be difficult. Not impossible, difficult. But with a good plan and good knowledge, and go into the whole of market through the right advisors, you still stand a chance. But think about what your lender would want to see. Why would your lender say yes to you?
Yeah.
And that means a short plan, a forecast, something you've put research and thought into, and you've got some professional help along the way.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Richard. I think we've come to the end of our questions now. Thank you so much to everyone that's attended and joined in the chat box today and asked your questions. It's always so great to see you on here, and a massive thank you to you, Richard, for joining us and giving us your great tips this morning. We will be back tomorrow at 11 AM for another workshop. Please do head over to the Small Business Saturday UK Facebook page, where we'll be interviewing small businesses live until 2 PM today. So again, a massive thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Amber. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, and we'll see you all again very soon. Bye, guys.